Hi folks, I'm Peggy Wright and I just want to talk about how do we take a diagnosis of autoimmune disorder and find a path ahead. It's so tricky, and many of us in my team actually have had different varieties of autoimmune disorders. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue in 1990, a long time ago. So I've been living with this a long time, and now, after just the last few years, I've been increasingly getting rid and shedding symptoms, and so I feel like finally I'm living almost symptom free. So it's possible. We can do this. And many other folks on my team have had the same experience. Some of them have had Lyme disease. There's some with celiac disease. There are a variety of autoimmune. One of our ladies has Hashimoto's. But all of us have been able to find a great quality of health. But the tricky thing is, when we were first diagnosed, the medical community didn't know what to do with us. So chronic fatigue had no path. All they knew was that generally people don't get well. So I was told at the age of 21 or whatever what I was back then, that basically I had a future ahead of me that was basically just going to be chronic sickness. I would never feel well again. And that didn't sit well with me. I felt like, hey, there's got to be ways to help the body heal. So it turns out there are ways to reduce inflammation just by changing the foods we eat. There are ways to help hormone balance that make a huge difference in how our mood and our gut health is huge. So this series on autoimmune is just going to kind of go through layer after layer of things to try, things that have been really effective for those of us who have put this information together. So we are not medical professionals. We are just people trying to sort this out and who couldn't live with what the medical diagnosis sort of left us with. And so we had to find a path. And so we're just here to share our path. We do find great help in finding a little health team. So I find it really beneficial to have my doctor work with my naturopath on blood tests, things like that. I have a chiropractor who's also really good at doing muscle testing and some things that help me sort through my puzzles. So I have a little team that I go to, and I know who to go to for which thing, and I've found them invaluable. So I would start there. Look for people that you feel will really help you do a path that you're comfortable with. If you feel like you're being handed a path that doesn't make sense to you and you want more time, buy yourself some time. Go check things out. Find a functional practitioner. I'll drop some possibilities in a link that you can do some of your own research. But you need to own your path, because this is one where it's tricky. You live in your body, you know your symptoms, and so you can work with people who can help you make progress. So the things that I'm going to lay out here are things that you can try and then see how it impacts. So try removing try removing foods that cause inflammation, and then see how you feel. See what your test results are. See if you see progress. Maybe that's your big first move. Or maybe it's hormone balance. Maybe you feel a lot of crazy up and downs and you can't explain it. And maybe it's the energy loss and you kind of want to go, I feel like there's a thyroid or an adrenal issue here, but it's not showing up in testing. What's going on? So let's take these one by one. So I'm going to start by just saying, hey, I hear you, I see you. Autoimmune is hard and crazy, and what are they? So autoimmune diseases affect up to 50 million Americans. So that's just America. And autoimmune disease develops when your immune system defends your body against disease, but then it decides that your healthy cells are foreign. And so, as a result, your immune system starts to attack healthy cells. An autoimmune disease can affect one or many different areas of the body and different types of body tissue. It can also cause abnormal organ growth and changes in organ function. So, at its simplest definition, autoimmune means that your immune system is attacking itself. It's overworking by hurting itself. So, for instance, my friend Kelly, who wrote some of this material, said, for instance, one of my autoimmune diseases is celiac disease, which means really that my small intestine is actually attacking itself. It sees healthy cells as the enemy and attacks them. And this has severely impacted the health of my small intestine and the rest of my gut as well. There are as many as 80 types of autoimmune diseases, and more are being discovered all the time. But many of them have similar symptoms. It makes them hard to diagnose. It's also possible to have more than one at the same time. So Kelly has both celiac and rheumatoid arthritis. Autoimmune diseases can fluctuate between periods of remission, which means few or no symptoms, to flare-ups, a worsening of symptoms. And a lot of that has to do with how we listen to and care for our bodies. Cosmo's joining me for this talk, but he does not have autoimmune, thankfully. Yay! It is absolutely possible to thrive with an autoimmune disease, and you can put your symptoms into remission and live full, healthy lives. And I really want this for you. I want it for all of us, because another thing about autoimmune disorders is we do have to live with them. They are chronic. It doesn't mean we will experience the symptoms for the rest of our lives. We can do our best to support our bodies and control that, but by nature they're considered a chronic illness. So autoimmune diseases are greatly on the rise. New people are being diagnosed every single day. It's alarming, really, and 75% of those with autoimmune disorders are female, but certainly males have these issues as well. Rheumatoid arthritis is huge for a lot of guys, a lot of gut things. So what causes these? The reality is, at the time that we wrote this anyway, there was no official known answer to that. You can have a genetic disposition to it, but more than anything, we're exploring environmental triggers. Those scientists and researchers are wondering if there's a change in the environment which is causing a rapid increase in autoimmune. There seems to be a lot of link to toxicity in the body. And so the more we're exposed to different chemicals, the more our body recognizes certain body tissues that are storing toxins as bad, because our body's good at tracking down toxins and ridding them from the body. It just so happens that if your thyroid has been drawing a lot of the toxins to that area, then sometimes the body will start to see the thyroid tissue as the enemy, and it's not. So toxins are going to be a big part of the solution here too. You can look in PubMed, you'll find lots of information online about autoimmune, but basically, though it can be so hard, and I really believe that life can be good. We can put this inflammation down, we can reduce the symptoms we experience, and at this point in my life, I feel like, okay, in my 20s, I felt like a 90-year-old. Like I just did. I felt so sick. And in my 50s, I'm feeling really well. Like I just feel like I'm getting my life back. And so let's happen quicker for you. Like you don't need to travel my long meandering path. Let's shorten this path. Let's make it easier for those coming behind me. Don't spend 30 years trying to find your answers. Start with things that we've already tried, and start with things that we found effective, and then take your own journey from there. So this is up to you. This is your health journey. You get to decide what steps you want to take, what things you want to try to put your body back into a healing state. That's the goal here. How can we put our body back to how it was meant to function? So I'm going to leave it there and do little chunk videos rather than making this a great big long one. But just know that you can trust yourself. Trust how you're feeling. You know your body. Other people look at us and they can't even see what's going on. Chronic fatigue was an invisible disease. It didn't mean it was in my head. It was in my body, all through my body. I felt so awful. You know your body. Don't let anyone tell you something that doesn't feel true or real to you. Trust yourself and know that we're standing with you. You have a whole community of us that wants to see you thrive. So our diagnosis is not who we are. It's just a part of our story. Let's make this story a good one.